Hello, I hope you're doing well. I've received a ton of requests recently for a closet tour. I've also had a lot of questions and compliments about my pants in particular. So I've decided to do a closet tour series, one type of garment at a time. Today we'll be discussing my pants, but a specific kind of pants that I've been wearing a lot recently that people have been asking about. That specific kind of pant is the surplus military pant. Military surplus is one of the niches in fashion that I'm very interested in. The main reason for that is that I'm obsessed with functionality. I love garments that are made for a purpose or made for a specific set of conditions that perform to the utmost in that purpose or that set of conditions. Granted, it's a well-known fact that military supply contracts often go to the lowest price product overall. So military grade doesn't necessarily mean like amazing product, but especially for vintage, it does mean pretty solid stuff usually. I also tend to wear a lot of neutrals. The green colors usually go pretty well with all that. Military surplus garments can also usually be found for very cheap if you look for them long enough. I often cave and buy them at places where they're a little bit upcharged just for the convenience of getting a sturdy product in a color that I'm going to wear that is purpose built without having to do a ton of searching. But there are specifically 5 pairs that I own, a few of which I've been wearing recently and people have been commenting, asking where they can get their own. So for each pair, I'm going to give you the history of what they were originally used for. I'll try them on and show you what they look like on me, and I'll tell you where I got them and where you might be able to find your own pair. We're going to start with the coziest option, this gorgeous pair of liner pants. These are specifically liner pants for flyers, meaning that if you're aerial personnel, probably in the air, you'd be wearing one of these. The purpose behind these is that the higher up you go in the atmosphere, the colder it gets. These are extremely warm. I think they're actually meant to be worn under other garments in certain instances, but they keep me incredibly warm into the very low Fahrenheits in my normal life during the winter, and they keep an airman extremely warm during aerial operations in the atmosphere. These ones have specific hard points and buttons to attach to other garments. They have 2 pockets in the back, both quilted just like the rest of the pants. There's a pretty serious buttoning system with a lot of different buttons to make them very secure. The bottoms are ribbed to keep in that body heat, and overall these are purpose built for being functional and comfortable to wear, but very, very warm. I picked these up in November, and they've been my go-to pants for around the house, even out in the world throughout the winter. This is how the liner pants fit. They're a little bit wide and oversized around the thighs to accommodate space, but they do taper towards the ankle. These were designed almost entirely for functionality. I don't think aesthetic was a huge consideration, but I do love how they look. I picked these up for $30 at a vintage store in Toronto. The best bet you'd probably have to get a similar pair is literally just look up military surplus liner pants thermal. Some variation of a combination of those words will get you most likely a surplus site or a reproduction site where you can get a similar pair of these. I don't have any brands that I recommend off the top of my head because these aren't super widely manufactured these days. I just look up those keywords and see what you can find. Next up, we have some pants that have been generating a lot of Instagram comments recently on one of my posts where I wore them. These are a gorgeous pair of 1960s Australian military Gurkha style pants. These, I assume, were somewhere between like a daily uniform and actually a field pant. There's actually a tag, CGCF Victoria 1963. There is a place to write the regimental number of the person who owned these. It's blank. So I'm assuming these were unissued. That's probably why they're in such great shape. I'm putting on the Gurkha pants. You can see that in order to put these on, I have to use this closure system. It actually buckles on each side of the waist. That's one side, and there's the other. These fit so beautifully around my waist, the pleats look amazing. These are definitely more of a relaxed fit, which is great to have in my wardrobe. Regardless of that, they look very elegant and classy, even with the cargo pockets. Gurkha trousers originated because of a specific group of Nepali soldiers that were part of the British military. That immediately should be like a historical and colonial red flag. The historical context for pretty much any military innovation, and to an extent any military garment, is gonna be bad most of the time. I wanna make sure that I acknowledge that because I do wear a lot of old military garments. They are purpose-built. They're very functional, they look good, and that's always something I'm willing to talk about with people who are curious about the pants, who are curious about any surplus that I have. That being said, the design of these pants is extraordinary. They fit very well, they're very functional, they're very comfortable. They have these beautiful deep pleats on the front which add a lot of flexibility and movement to them. The fit of these is very relaxed. I wouldn't really call it oversized, but they're definitely relaxed. They allow a lot of freedom of movement. They're incredibly comfortable. I could see them being used in Australia where it's very hot most of the year because they're very breathable as well. These, in my opinion, look a little bit fancier because of the pleating, because of the interesting closure system. So I like to wear these to dress up an outfit or as a part of a dressier outfit overall. But they do have like cargo pockets, which makes them an interesting sort of dressed down, dressed up gray area, and I really enjoy wearing them. This pair was honestly a crazy find. I got them for $75 at a vintage market in Boston. A guy that goes by @SavedByTheCloth on Instagram sold them to me. It was a decent price for how old they are and how cool they are. Bronson MFG actually makes a pair that's very similar to these. You can actually just look up up like military Gurkha trousers and find dozens of pairs out there. But I do like Bronson MFG. I've not owned a pair of their pants before. I've owned other things from them like a vest and a beanie. They make pretty damn good garments, so I'd recommend checking them out for a pair just like these. This next pair is incredibly functional for a very sad reason. These are chemical protective pants. These do exactly what the name implies. They protect people from chemicals who are in the military. These are intended as overpants. You'd wear them over other pants. So they fit kind of big if you're looking at them from a normal sizing standpoint. These are an extra small and they fit me with like a 30 size waist. The fabric for these and the design of them are both intended to literally repel or reduce the impact of chemicals on the human body. That is a scary thing to think about. These days I wear them because they fit me really well and they're very comfortable. They're actually pretty warm too because the fabric used for chemical protection is actually pretty insulating. These feature a side pull for a little bit of fit customization. They also have hard points for attaching to other garments. They have this really interesting feature in the leg where there is a combination of Velcro, get that ripped, and a zipper to open up the leg of the pant. I think that's to make it easier to get around boots or to put on over other pants. But you can clearly see that these were designed to be protective. They have a closure system at the bottom of the pant leg to keep things out effectively. I didn't know the story behind these and their purpose when I first got them. I just thought they looked cool. But that's something I generally try to find out about a garment, about a piece. I like to learn about the history of things, both so that I know because I'm interested and so that I can have a discourse on what it might mean. Here we have the chemical protective pants. These to me are more of a streetwear pant than like an old school menswear pant. They do look very good. This particular pair ends a little bit high on my ankle, so I wear them pretty much only with boots. The only complaint I have about these is that because they're overpants, they don't have normal pockets. The only pocket is on the front of the thigh. I don't wear these super often because my style has gone more towards classic menswear recently, but I do like to wear them on occasion. In terms of getting a pair of these, I really don't know where you'd go to look for them. I don't even know if I'd advocate to try to find a pair because they're chemical protective. So on the off chance they've ever encountered chemicals, that could be a dangerous thing. I'd actually kind of advise against it. I have a Geiger counter, I have a couple of protective measures in place, so I feel okay owning these because I have protective measures in place, but I don't know if I suggest for anyone to go out and try to find a pair of chemical protective pants. Unless they were maybe specifically unissued. Unissued means that they've never been worn in the field, they've not been worn by anyone, they're just overstock. In that case, you could just look up chemical protective overpants, unissued, and see what you could find if you really want a pair. But in terms of just getting a pair secondhand, I think I got lucky with these being relatively safe. I wouldn't seek them out necessarily. Moving on to an absolute favorite amongst the range of pants that I have. These are my 1970s American military wool trousers. These I'm betting were for more of like a daily uniform, almost a dress uniform because they have this gorgeous pleat. They're cut more like a dress pant. These could hypothetically see service in the field. The wool fabric, I think they're 100% wool, is very apt for field activities if necessary, especially in a colder climate. They have these wonderful side pulls that I love to adjust the fit. Something interesting is they have a very deep zipper. It goes very far down on the pant. They are, of course, marked. I think these were issued. They have various hard points on the inside for attachment to other garments. These, more than anything, just fit super well. They're not immediately identifiable as military pants, and I love that because the point of me wearing these things is not to look like I'm in the military. I don't want anything to do with stolen valor. I don't want to look like I'm associated with the military-industrial complex. They just make good clothes. These kind of just look like wool dress pants. They have some certain hard points and functionality things that I think are unique, which I love. And I actually got these at a price that is better than I could get wool dress pants for. Here we have the wool trousers. These, to me, are the perfect pair of pants. They are warm. Wool is also very breathable, so I could hypothetically wear these in the summer. The fit is just insane. It's customizable because of the side pulls. They're just incredible. I honestly don't know if I'll ever have another pair of pants that fits so perfectly off the rack. This pair was $50 at 10 Foot Single in Williamsburg. If you want to pick up a pair of these, I'd say these are actually the easiest to find. The pair I got was a really good price. I'm very happy with them, but I've seen multiple pairs of these at different stores. If you look up wool military pants, if you look up the era 1970s, especially US military, you can find a very similar pair, probably for cheaper than I got them for if you really do some hunting. Bronson MFG makes some options that are close to this, but if you want the same thing, these are decently readily available. Last but not least, we have my most recent pickup. This is a gorgeous pair of OG 107s. These have become somewhat hyped up in recent years because people have realized they fit super well and they look really good and they're very cozy. The OG 107, OG is for olive green, was sort of the main US military pant for decades. I think from the 1950s-ish to the 80s. These saw active service in places like Vietnam. They're a very functional pant, they're a very comfortable pant, they can work in a variety of climates. This pair, based on how clean they are, was probably unissued, and I think they're one of the later versions because the first pairs had this fabric that has sort of a stripe pattern. This pair has, in my opinion, a very beautifully textured but not striped green cotton fabric. Some key aspects of these are that they sit nice and high on the waist, like at the natural waistline. That makes them very appealing to wear because they lengthen the overall look of the legs and they cinch the waist. They also have a taper throughout the leg, which is a very functional thing if you need to conduct operations in them, but in terms of aesthetic, it looks very good as well. Perhaps the most distinctive part of these is the pockets. Most pockets are sewn inside pants. You'd see that on other pants that I just showed you. These are sewn on the outside, and that just looks different and cool. It's very distinctive. A lot of pants that are coming out these days mimic this in some way. Overall, these have no frills. They're just a simple, great-fitting, classic functional pair of pants. They're very flattering on the body, which I think is what's made them so popular recently. You can see that they fit higher on the waist, and they have that bit of a taper towards the bottom. These are very flattering, they're very comfortable. I think they're going to be my #1 pair of pants this summer. They're definitely more casual than the wool pair, but I do think that I'll wear these more day to day. They feel very rugged, but also extremely compatible with classic menswear. You can get OG 107s usually for a decently high price in the secondhand market. Because they've been in such high demand the last few years, they're generally upcharged. These, I got very lucky. I got them in Toronto at a really great vintage store. The name of the store is Relocation, and these were $30. There are many different reproductions and different takes on these. I have a great pair from Ronning, and Bronson MFG also makes a pair of these. So that is every pair of surplus pants I own, a bit about their history, why I like the fit or the functionality of them, and where you might be able to find a pair. Let me know what your favorite pair of pants from this video is, and if you're looking to pick up a pair. I'm very curious to also hear recommendations for where to look for similar pants, reproductions, or originals. In any event, thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.